Hello, artist. Today I wanted to share with you a way to make a weaving using a paper plate. This type of weaving turns out round and is great for coasters, pot holders, or hanging things on your wall. You need a paper plate, scissors, a drawing utensil, and some yarn. If you're at school, it's important to write your name on your paper plate so it doesn't get lost. You can also take time right before you begin to decorate the plate to enhance your woven artwork. For this project, the paper plate is going to be the loom that we weave on. To make it the loom, we need to cut out little spots along the edge of the paper plate. We need to cut out an odd number of slots. Remember, an odd number is like 9 or 11 or 13. My goal is to get 11 little slots. I think you should aim for the same. A quick way to try to get 11 slots is to measure using your 3 fingers, making one little line and putting your 3 fingers next to it and marking on the other side of your 3 fingers until you're all the way around. Then I'm going to number each of those marks to make sure that I got an odd number. But look, I ended up with 10, which is not an odd number. I need 11, which means I need one more, so I'm going to get a new colored tool, or if you'd used pencil, you could have erased. And I'm going to try to make my notches a little bit closer together, using this 3-finger measurement technique as well. And then going back with the pink tool I'm using and numbering them. Hopefully this time I've reached an odd number, and I did. I reached 11. Now that I've reached that odd number, I'm going to go and cut just a little bit, only about as big as, the tip of your finger. I'm not cutting very deep, but I'm only cutting on the pink little lines, not the blue ones. Remember, those were my accident ones. And then, once I've got some notches, I also need to put a hole in the middle of my paper. I can carefully use a pencil or pen to push through the paper. And if that doesn't work with adult supervision and some extra safety measures, you could use the bottom part of a scissor. After you've poked a hole in it, it's time to start wrapping the loom with some yarn. The yarn that we're using needs to be a long piece, so perhaps leave it attached to the yarn ball. Measure at least as long as the plate and stick the yarn through your number 1 slot. Notice that the tail hangs off the back and the rest of the yarn is wrapping around the front. The pattern to remember when wrapping the yarn is to always pull the yarn straight across and into the closest notch. So I pull the yarn straight across and I'm going into the closest notch, which is notch number 7. Now I'm pulling it straight across the back and into the next notch, which you can see I numbered 2. Straight across the front into the next notch, 8. Across the back. Now look, it made an X on the back. So I went into 3, across the front. The next notch is 9, and I'm counting up, 7, 8, 9. Now I'm going to make straight across the back and go into the next slot, 4. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight across the front into number 10. And again, straight across the back, always inserting the yarn tightly and nicely into that slot. When you've inserted the yarn into the very last slot, and you can see you've got a big crisscross on both the front and the back, we need to cut the yarn. Pull the yarn clear across the plate, plus more, and cut it off. Then we're going to insert this tail into that hole in the middle of the plate. Using a pencil or a pen, we'll quickly be able to poke it through, and you can pull it from the back side all the way through that hole. Then you're going to tie the 2 yarns together just in a double knot here on the back, but be sure it's not a bow. Now we have dressed our loom. These are called the warp threads because we warped them or wrapped them around the plate. They are the part that hold the weaving, which we will learn to do next. But before we go today, I wanted to show you a few examples of paper plate weavings other artists have done, just for some amazing inspiration.